You're listening to part 2 of the interview with Yankee Pete on Carolina Broadcasting Legends with Matt Burton.
Let's move a little bit to Ace and TJ.
Okay.
Because that was a big part of your life in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel being the producer of a show of that caliber?
Normal. Regular. I knew it felt great when we became number one. And it took about, I don't even remember the date. I remember where we were. We were on a Radio Family cruise when we got the news. But I'm going to say 2 years-ish, when we finally got a ratings report that had the day part at number one. We knew that was big, and I knew we did some things that really made an impact. And I know when we would go to industry conferences, things like Morning Show Boot Camp and other things where you were with your peers, I knew that the show was decent, in the top-ish percentile, but there were so many others that we looked up to and some that we would share ideas with. There was a sense of humility there that I don't know. I can tell you that it's been 3 years since I chose to leave the show. That put it in a lot of perspective. I hate to be cliche and pull out phrases like an old man would, but you can't see the forest for the trees. So your question of how did it feel to be the producer of a show of that caliber, felt like I was going to work every day. Felt like we were doing good, fun work. I got to laugh every day. We had to cuss at each other a few times, but it was genuinely fun. My wife, when I got married, we met in 2007, married in 2009, she would remind me more often when I would gripe about something. And the way I always tell the story is when we would escort listeners backstage, you're going to meet your favorite artist, and we'd have the opportunity to go with you. And certain artists would work kind of on artist time. So we're supposed to be there at, say, 6:30 to do the meet and greet, and we're going to escort people back there. And then it gets to be 6:45, and then you find out from their manager that they're not doing that till 7:15, or they're not doing it at all, which we would always try to stop. Hey, you promised this. We're going to make this happen. But it was a lot of hurry up and wait. Mm-hmm. So I'd be griping about that. I can't believe so-and-so was such a diva, and this was a pain in the butt. And my wife would always say, yeah, it's really tough for you that you had to wait about 15 minutes when you were backstage for an artist who sold out a huge arena to be able to give somebody the opportunity of a lifetime to meet an artist that they love. Yeah, you should really be out digging ditches, or you should really be working on sewer lines or something. You've really got it rough. That helped to put it in perspective for me, but it was always just what I did. I don't want to say I took it for granted because I was very aware of the situation, but it felt pretty cool. But it was just I don't want to say it was just a job, because it was never just a job. But I think the impact and the knowledge of how well respected that show is in the industry and how well Ace and TJ are thought of didn't really resonate with me until I was able to leave and step back and go, okay, that was a great opportunity. That was a good almost 2 decades of my life, and it was pretty awesome.
Cool. Well, I know me, I won't say growing up, because I remember when I was real little, it was Bob and Sherry.
Okay.
Well, when I would ride to school with Mom, it was Bob and Sherry. When I rode with Dad...
Can I guess?
Yes.
John Boy and Billy.
It was John Boy and Billy. So I listened to, and then when I start to drive, it was Ace and TJ.
Yep.
And I heard 3 voices that really said, you know what, I like that. I like the sound of it. I like how they come across. Bob Lacey, Yankee Pete, and Rayford. And there's a reason why. With all due respect, I love the grouchiness of Bob Lacey. Yeah. Like he's like, whatever. Who cares? Rayford sounding like Rayford.
Exactly.
And then Yankee Pete giving us his take on the stupid news. And now with my drive home with Matt and Taylor, instead of doing the hardcore news, I do like a little stupid news segment.
Mm-hmm.
it's not near. I don't have the seriousness that Yankee Pete can deliver the stupid news because I get tickled, a lot.
Right?
Because I'm like, how does he do that? I mean, how do you read these stories?
You have to be possibly scarred and just jaded in general with life, and don't get that way. Don't get that way. I take that as a huge compliment to be put in the same category with Bob and with Rayford especially. Rayford is just. Yeah.
He's Rayford.
We're a cranky little family.
Yeah,
we are. I appreciate that. It's a different perspective, and I don't know where it comes from. I really don't know where it comes from. And some of the work I'm doing now with KISS 95.1 with Manny, Roy, and Loren is, well, this morning, as a matter of fact, just before I came over here, instead of doing stupid news, it led into a rant. And it led into a rant about millennials and about holding the door for people and about just even saying good morning and somebody not even looking up from their phone or grunting or anything back at you. And it took up all of the time. And it was just one of those things where, and I think everybody can relate to this, and maybe it's a gift that I've been given to have an outlet in the form of a microphone to not go crazy, because you can't really schedule those tirades or those vents or those bits of anger ball or whatever they are. You can't schedule them because it might happen every day, but it might only come out once every 3 months. But to be able to have an outlet, I think everybody can relate to just finally having enough. All of our moms have lost it on us at some point.
Yeah.
Probably in the middle of a grocery store when we're just being little twerps.
Yeah.
That's what it gets to, when you've just had enough and you got to let it go. But if you say, all right, we're going to have the, Pete's anger rant every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or, every Thursday, or whatever the case is, it doesn't work, because if it's not genuine. And that's something that we always were, and I don't think I always was in radio, and I learned that from Ace and TJ, is be yourself. I mean, now if you're a total jerk all the time, you can't do that all the time. But never fake your opinion, never fake your emotion. Whatever, if you're going through something, share it. If you're happy, share it. And always react honestly. And sometimes that honest reaction is very immature and angry.
Right.
And I'm glad that that's entertaining.
Yeah. Well, it's like...
and it couldn't be all the time.
Yeah.
And I'll give you another quick story on that. I'm sorry, Matt.
No.
I didn't even ask you before we got started how much time we have. This might have been a 5-minute segment, and we're just going to take it into 5 hours.
Well, you know what? We do have until 4:30, so, hey, just roll with it.
And now I lost my train of thought on that. I'm sorry.
Tirade, getting mad.
When you're getting mad, you always have to be honest, but tempered. And I'm glad that that's entertaining for people. And I'm sure whatever I was going to say will come back to me. But go ahead.
Well, I remember whenever that I first started our show. I was, interviewing presidential candidates and very serious, hardcore news, because I'm like, I want to be a hardcore newsman. And then Taylor, my co-host, got a hold of me. She's like, Matt, why don't we try something? And I tried other co-hosts, and it just didn't click.
Yep.
And when Taylor got a hold of me, and then Arrow and Johnny D, they all said, Matt, just let your hair down. And because there's that funny side, and really, but now, like I said, I'm still the grouchy one,
right?
I can't stand hearing about the Kardashians. Taylor does her pop culture. I do. I'm like, and I think probably you'll agree. It's like I get to tell people how stupid people are, and laugh about it, and like get to make fun of them, because it's like.
And I really think that doing that. The different side, the different angle, the different way to approach a story, and there are some people who are doing this when candidates appear mostly on late night talk shows. Those videos will go viral. Those little clips will go viral, because I'm I don't want to say I'm a political junkie. I care, but I care less than I did maybe 15, 20 years ago.
You're not losing sleep.
No, no, not at all. Because I have also, with age, realized that I can't gripe about things until I'm doing what's right for myself. I'm doing what's right for myself, for my family, and I can't change, let's say, the welfare system in America. I can't. I want to, because I think it's a disaster. I can't change the Social Security system in America. I want to. I can tell you everything that's wrong with it, and I can tell you that if I didn't have to deal with the politics, I could go in there and fix it tomorrow. It wouldn't be popular. If I were president, I would be assassinated tomorrow if I did that, because I would like to shake it up. But I can't do that, and I don't believe anyone can. I believe some people would be more in line with my values than other people would be, but I am better served to make sure that I am in order and that my life is in order, and be able to touch or help or coach one person, and maybe that will make a difference. To get someone off of food stamps, I would be better served to help one person get off food stamps than to try and fix the welfare system. So back to the politicians. Hearing them talk about pop culture, hearing them talk about whether they're good or a disaster when it comes to cooking a meal, whether it comes to where they want to vacation, or the most fun or biggest fight they've ever had with their spouse, or maybe something stupid that happened when they were in elementary school. Those are the things I'd like to talk about, because you know what? Those are the things I'd like to talk about when I go to dinner with friends. I don't want to talk about the problems of the world. I don't want to hear a rehearsed speech. I don't want to get a regurgitation of what everyone wants to hear. I don't care. I want to hear what you actually have to say. I didn't ask you, and it may be obvious here, I didn't ask you anything ahead of time about what we were going to talk about.
Nope. Vice versa.
Didn't have a list of questions. As I said, I didn't know if we were doing 5 minutes or 5 hours here today, but those regular conversations are what I like. So if you can have that attitude and be genuine with yourself, then the interview, whether it's a politician, whether it's a comedian, whether it's an entertainer, whether it's the homeless guy who lives out here no matter who it is, it can be entertaining. And that's a filter that we used on the show. It could be the biggest television star in the world, and they are getting huge ratings. They're the number one show. But if none of us on the show watch that show or we're familiar with their body of work, we're not going to have them on just to have them on. Maybe we would talk to them off the air and play a clip if there was anything riveting. But if you go to a B-list, C-list, or D-list, that might be a person that we would have on because somebody on the show really, really likes them or has watched that show from the beginning. If it's a show on some network that nobody's ever heard of, but one person on our show was passionate about that, take the interview. Put the interview on the air, because that is going to be contagious. That's what people want to hear. So, that all goes back to being genuine with yourself in being able to share that and actually keep the audience interested.
Right. Let me ask you one big question,
okay.
And I'm wondering, I'm sure that everyone else is wondering, what's next for Yankee Pete?
I have no idea. I'm happy right now. I'm not getting up at 1:45 in the morning, which is pretty cool. I would get up at 1:45 to leave by 2:45 or 3 on a good day. Now, some days I would, sleep until 3:30 if I got more work done the night before. I'm working in a contract basis, still doing Stupid News with KISS 95.1 with radio. I'm working with Once Upon a Vacation, planning Disney travel for families, which I absolutely love. I'm also working as an MC and kind of a host for some hospitality events. I travel most of the NASCAR circuit on the weekends, working with different clients in that regard. And we've got a studio at the house, so I do a lot of voiceover, a lot of commercial work, a lot of narrations, a fair amount of audiobooks. So I keep myself busy with that. And I also like to tinker with old stuff. So I've got a store on eBay and Amazon because I love yard sales and I love auctions. And I love just buying old crap. And
are you a hoarder?
No.
You're not a hoarder. You just like...
I love acquiring it, but I also love selling it.
Yeah.
So it hasn't really infiltrated the house. Hoarders have an bringing it in problem. I have a bringing it in problem, but I also don't have a
like to make money.
Getting it out problem. Yes, because I'm a capitalist and I'm bring it in, clean it up, sell it, and that. And again, that goes into my political views that anybody who is quote unquote out of work can make money because especially this area of the country is a hotbed for auctions, and you can find so much stuff to buy cheap and increase the price 10 to 20 fold and sell it the next day. I mean, it's insane the amount of money that you can make. And I'm not even doing the seller or the fulfillment buy. It's just stuff that I'm acquiring. So it's not on a huge scale, but it's super fun to do, to find weird little crazy things. And turns out when you have a worldwide reach through eBay, Amazon, that sort of thing, somebody wants it. No matter how weird or crazy the thing is, somebody else wants it.
Yeah. So
I'm doing that and picking up a few I guess clients, partners that I'm able to help and coach and consult, although I hate the word consultant.
You might have a new student here. You might have a new client.
It really to just kind of shake people back into the reality and to share with them what I was able to learn by leaving that day to day. When I told you it was just a job. No, again, it wasn't just a job. But I got to the point where I felt like I was going through the motions, and that's what I told Ace and TJ when I told them that I was leaving. I feel like my passion for it is gone, and I want to do something else, but you deserve to have somebody in here with a renewed energy for it as well. And I do hope that they found that. I wasn't planning on getting back into radio at all. It wasn't my goal. It wasn't
famous last words.
Yeah, and it turns out that I did, and I started to play around with other things, and people started to call, and that was weird, and it still is weird. 3 years later, it's weird to be working someplace that isn't where I started in this market, even though it's the same station, it's not with the same show. It's weird. But to have that reality of being able to go outside and look at what you were experiencing, to shake other people into that reality and just kind of change perspective is what I work with some people on, and it's fun to do. So what's next? I really didn't even answer your question. I think keep on keeping on doing that. There's always room for more. There's always another business, another opportunity, something else to buy, another trip to book, and somebody else to coach. My eyes were always open to that. But I'm ready for more, but there's not a big jump. I'm probably going to retire here unless there's enough money to...
unless New York calls or...
No, I don't even know if that's the case. I mean, unless there were a windfall of money.
Kelly and Michael, you might be the next...
That's true.
You go be with Kelly.
You see Kelly and Pete? No, that is not going to happen. Although my wife did want me to be the Drew Carey when The Price is Right was available. She wanted me to go do that.
I could see you doing that.
See, but I would rather have, when Bob Barker left, I would have rather had the Rod Roddy position.
Yeah.
Now we're looking for Matt. Come on down. But no, I don't think that's going to. Really, we're talking about the lottery. We're talking about lottery kind of money. There's probably an island in the Caribbean with a lot on it where my wife and I would be happy. I'm not a huge fan of beach and sand, but I'm a big fan of the view. So if you got $5 or $6 million laying around, and that would get us that place in the Caribbean, that's probably the reason that I would be leaving beautiful Troutman, North Carolina, where we live now.
There you go. Well, everyone, Yankee Pete, I want to thank you so much for coming in, sitting with me, and I don't care what you say. You are a Carolina broadcasting legend.
Wrong. I have hung out long enough that somebody wants to interview me, and for that I am honored. I will take that, but I still don't consider myself that. I'm just a guy who happens to be around the same town as you quite often, and it's a pleasure to be able to talk to people and have a personal connection with people, whether it's radio, podcast, or in a grocery store. It's awesome. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.